fuck did you go? Where the fuck did you go? No! Oh my! Alright. I'll see you tomorrow.
Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Kirsty. It is a new day here in the province. Don't mind the stuff in the background, we still are figuring out some storage, but I wanted to make a video about just how we prepare our just like food system, cooking and stuff like that. Like I've talked about before, we do bulk groceries, which is really helpful. We're in the process of making a greenhouse so we can start growing certain vegetables and fruit, and then getting chickens eventually for eggs. But since we just moved here and we're settling in, I didn't want the responsibility of taking care of chickens just yet. But we get fresh eggs from the market usually here locally, so they're local chickens, which is really great. But I did want to talk about just meal prep and stuff like that. I feel like meal prepping can be helpful if you're like a busy person with work, you leave for work, and stuff like that. But at the same time, I've done a little bit of meal prep before, but I feel like meal prepping isn't the system that I prefer, because you can get tired of the meals, especially if you're eating the same thing once or twice or 3 times in a row. What I like to do is I do cook larger batches because I have a family. Oh, okay, come on. Cody. Because I feel like when you meal prep, you buy specific ingredients for like specific dishes, and then sometimes you don't use up all those ingredients, and I feel like it makes just cooking in general difficult because you don't know what to do with the rest of the ingredients. But when you have certain base ingredients and then you start to cook, you know what goes in what you can use for certain things, what you can substitute, and things like that. So you start to understand like which spices go together, and what types of meats or proteins go with certain dishes. But I do like to get one thing you should do is get ingredients in bulk, so things that you know you can make from scratch. And you don't have to make everything from scratch. There are certain things that you get the base ingredients out of it from, and then you can make into several different things. So for example, canned products, canned tomatoes, tomato paste, you can make into sauces for pasta, use it in certain rice dishes, or certain like guisado dishes, for ketchup if you need, for pizza sauce, and then like for example hot sauce. I just made buffalo sauce the other day. That's something I don't like to buy because they usually have like canola oils or other additives like stabilizers in buffalo sauce, but I have hot sauce usually. Like I'll have Cholula. I'll have like hot sauce, which you can easily turn into buffalo sauce with a few simple ingredients. So just having things like flour, we buy certain breads still sometimes, but having certain flours to make certain things from scratch. I make pitas from scratch. I make our pizza dough. You can make pasta out of flour, specifically if you have semolina flour. But just having those bulk base ingredients, and then other canned things like beans, and being able to make Mediterranean stuff or Middle Eastern stuff. I use chickpeas. If I make Puerto Rican stuff, I have our kidney beans. And then having your kitchen stocked this way also really helps prevent waste. Like say for example you're going to meal prep and you buy a very specific herb, it's much easier to just have either grow your own fresh herbs or have dried herbs, which are spices, which is what we usually do. For example, I make tzatziki often, or garlic yogurt sauce, that's Middle Eastern, and I have dried dill, which we use for those types of dishes. And as you cook more often, without having to be like, okay, I'm going to meal prep this, and this, and have to run to the store for these 5 specific ingredients, you know what to stock in your house. Okay, I'm going to make some buffalo sauce. I made some yesterday, but I'm just gonna use this up. I'll make more later when I make something more expensive, but he's working on his bike. You just need butter and hot sauce. I like to use Cholula for buffalo. Butter, you like cayenne. And then a little bit of salt, a little bit of garlic powder, and some vinegar, like a splash of vinegar. And that's all you need. So overall, keep staples in bulk, like your grains, proteins and meats, and spices, milk, cheeses. Because once you know how to make like one stew or one soup, for example, you'll know how to make all of them once you get in the habit of cooking. I'm gonna set you up right there. But meal prepping does help in certain seasons of life, like postpartum. I've made videos on what I've made or cooked during my postpartum seasons, and then yeah, so it is helpful sometimes, so I won't say that I can never do it, but meal prep doesn't take into account like seasonality for certain produce and things like that, or being able to get local proteins and meats, so it doesn't take that into account. And what helps me is what I've talked about before, is thinking in terms of protein, fat, fiber, and like a starch. So having that kind of in the back of your mind when thinking of meals or how to stock your kitchen. Alrighty, we're going to spend some time outside this afternoon before we come back inside and cook. She's showing you her blocks, babe.
Huh?
She's showing you her blocks.
Oh, you got your blocks? Wow.
Okay, we strained the pasta, made some meatballs. Now we're gonna make the sauce. This is what I'm talking about when I say having staple ingredients instead of meal planning is really helpful. We're gonna do an Alfredo sauce, so that's cream, parm, and then, well, those are the two base ingredients, and then, you know, seasoning with garlic, salt, pepper. Very simple.